Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about American politics, and we are specifically going to talk about mental health care and what has been revealed by Elaine de Botton, a psychotherapist who is very high up in the field and much published and much regarded and critically regarded. And the truth she's revealed about psychotherapy, in my humble opinion, and what that means for psychology, psychotherapy, and psychiatry in America. All right, in my humble opinion. All right, let's dig into this. So first of all, how did I come across this guy? So Neil Brennan. Neil Brennan is one of the smartest men on the planet. He is responsible for the writing with Dave Chappelle for the Chappelle Show. Arguably, probably the funniest show that's ever been on television or the small screen. Television really doesn't exist anymore. We're in a streaming world, but that was on when television was a thing. So he is one of the best television writers ever, and I believe stand-up comedians are it's self-selecting for geniuses, right? And I believe that Neil Brennan is actually a genius, but he's even more than that. He's quite wise. He's a wise man and a genius, and he really he loves Alain de Botton. All right. Now, Alain de Botton is, and I'd never seen this. I'd never seen Neil Brennan do this before. On the show, he gets people on the podcast all the time, and he'll talk about, oh, we're friends, right? We've known each other for years. We're friends, right? But then sometimes he'll be like, oh, and then there are times where he is clearly does not like the guest. Him and Dan Harmon, I think they almost punched each other. Like, it was a really strained relationship. But actually on this one, he's like, I would like to be friends with you. He said it was very desperate and sounded very clingy, but great podcasts are, part of it is transparency and honesty. And Neil Brennan really likes this guy. He really thinks he's something, right? And I think he's something too. I think he's a truth teller in an era that desperately needs truth. So what did Alain de Botton say about psychotherapy? So I think the most telling thing in the whole, and Neil Brennan interviewed Alain de Botton, and all this comes out of that interview. All right, so, and Neil Brennan has a distinct interest in mental health care, like in psychology, psychiatry, and psychotherapy, right? He's talked about it with literally his show is called Blocks, and these blocks are mental health issues that people have, and then they talk about how they try to get past it. And often how they try to get past it is a psychologist, psychotherapist, or a psychiatrist, right? And he's discussed this. He is very knowledgeable on this subject, right? Man, I was blown away. Wait until you hear this. I was absolutely shocked and blown away by what really came out of this interview. So he said so he talks to Alain de Botton, and he's like, okay, so before you became a psychotherapist, you went to psychotherapists and you studied psychotherapy. And he said, so has psychotherapy healed you? And I couldn't believe it. And I was like, this is why I listen to Neil Brennan, right? And so there's like this 10-second silence where Alain de Botton is like, oh, I'm a psychotherapist. I literally make my living selling psychotherapy. And now I've been asked the question, were you healed by psychotherapy? Did it work? Right? And then he goes, here's my answer. And blah diddy bling blah blue blah blow. Like, blah 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 blah. How about words? Blah 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 blah. What do you say? Who cares, right? All you want to hear is yes, right? That's all I want to hear. Well, if you're saying, hey, this discipline you literally dedicated your life to, and that literally makes all your money, is it effective, right? Did it heal you? He does not say yes. He feels, and what does he do? What any couch scribbler would do, right? Like, he just fills it with a bunch of words, right? Like, none of which are yes, right? So he is very clear that psychotherapy did not heal him. What? All right, like, and you're like, what? Yeah, like, and so here's a guy who's at the top of psychotherapy. He's literally one of the best in the world. He's not just a psychotherapist. He is one of the psychotherapists, right? He is multiple book published, and he is extremely well regarded, and he makes his living with this. And when asked if it healed him, if it fixed the broken parts of him, he could not say yes, right? And I was just shocked, absolutely shocked. So one, I don't want to like, well, there isn't a dog pile, it's just me, right? But I know this sounds wild, right? I want to thank him for his honesty and his transparency. Like, flat out, that was a dangerous question, and his answer was dangerously truthful, right? He had every reason to lie, right? And he did, and I really appreciate that transparency. So what's my takeaway from this? I think that Elaine de Botton, this is only my opinion, okay? What Elaine de Botton is doing is he's saying, hey, placebos are, this is very, like, you have to read between the lines. He's not saying this directly, he's saying it indirectly, right, in my opinion. And what he's saying is, listen, you pay us $200 an hour, here's what you're going to get. We're going to listen to you, right? And that's not a small thing. I'm very blessed. I have a number of people, probably a half a dozen people in my life, who will genuinely listen to me. I can call them up, I can go meet with them, and they will genuinely listen to me. And I do not take that for granted, right? But a lot of people don't have that. And so he's saying, hey, $200 an hour, $600 an hour, $6,000 an hour, whatever the number is for, however good, air quotes, your psychotherapist is, they're going to listen to you. That's not nothing, right? And then they're going to fill the void. They're going to fill the void with the same answer. A bunch of words. They sound nice. They sound fancy. And then they're going to let you go unfixed. But they are going to encourage you in your brokenness. They're going to say, you are broken. Let's not worry about fixing that. Let's just make you feel better about being broken. Right? So that's really what I think. And he's selling a placebo, right? And is that a con job? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the reason why is placebos are real, right? Placebos actually work, right? And people hate that. It seems like it's against science, but placebos actually help people, right? And so there might be some value in the honesty of it, but I also feel like we can stop. My humble opinion, my opinion, I think we can start to understand that psychology, psychiatry, and psychotherapy are really modern phrenology. But they're modern phrenology. It's just phrenology, right? It's just like the study of the, this discredited discipline from the 1850s. And right now it's accredited, right? Like, there's a lot of schools that teach it. There were schools that taught phrenology, right? It's just a phase we're in right now, right? We're in that era, that 20 years before phrenology was discredited. Right now, psychiatry, psychology, and psychotherapy are accepted as genuine disciplines. But I believe if you listen to Elaine de Botton, he's like, it's nobody's getting fixed, nobody's getting helped, right? We're just listening to people and encouraging them that just because they're broken doesn't mean they're valueless, and we're charging them $200 to $2,000 an hour for it. That's what I think Elaine de Botton is saying. And I don't think that, and it took a huge amount. So one, he's not saying it directly. I think he's saying it indirectly. I think if you listen to him, that's the truth you'll hear, right? Between the lines, right? And I think it's extremely valuable for him to say it, because I think, we didn't get to the point where phrenology was discredited until some people started talking about it honestly, right? And so I think that's what Elaine de Botton is doing. Incredible interview. Definitely listen to Neil Brennan's interview of Elaine de Botton, and incredible courage on the part of Elaine Botton to speak truth, in my humble opinion. Even though he did it between the lines, that still takes incredible courage. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider like subscribing and have a fetch millennium.